Time to start our meeting. I'd like to welcome you to the utility meeting this evening. Appreciate your interest in the utility committee and what we try to do. Let's call roll. John Hambacker,
Here.
Harold Hamilton, Trina Pott,
Here.
David Weiss.
Here.
Is it Weiss or Weiss?
Weiss,
Weiss,
yeah.
okay. Okay. John Whalen, Kyle Williams.
Here.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
I make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I need a motion to approve the August 14th, 2024 minutes.
I make a motion to approve the August 14th, 2024 minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded that we approve the August 14th, 2024 minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We now need the financial report.
Can't hardly see that. Probably can't see it.
Okay, so these are the same slides that you're used to seeing. This slide shows utility usage and revenues for the 2 prior years, July through August of last year, to compare to July through August of this fiscal year. Year to date of this fiscal year, we have billed out almost 9.3 million kilowatt hours. That is down slightly compared to same time frame as last year. Electric revenues, we have billed just under 1.3 million. We have collected year to date 1.2 million. Purchase of power, this is what the city pays to MPUA to provide power to us. We paid out $803,000. That is slightly more than last year. And then on water consumption, we have billed out 22.5 million gallons. That's up slightly compared to last year. Water revenue billed is at $150,000, with $26,500 being the base rate. We have collected $145,000 of water revenues year to date. Sewer consumption, we billed 19.8 million gallons. Sewer revenue, we have billed $188,000, with $25,800 of that being the base rate. Sewer revenues collected year to date is $186,000. Okay, so on electric fund summary, the top section are revenues, again showing fiscal years 23 and 24, then comparing last year, July through August. The next column is what we budgeted for this fiscal year, and then the highlighted column is year to date for this fiscal year. So overall revenues, we have brought in almost 1.4 million. Overall expenditures are around just 1 million. This leaves us a surplus of 376,000, with the fund balance being 1.5 million within the electric fund. Then the next few slides are the details within each category.
Whenever you get a second.
Yeah.
David Weiss and I, we're looking at what, under the revenues, we see miscellaneous revenues at year-to-date 2263. Down miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous revenues?
Yeah, it's like 4.
Yes, yeah, that is an insurance reimbursement. It's a carryover from last year on the reclosure.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving on. Okay, the electric DNR fund, the replacement fund. There's not been a lot of activity in the replacement fund or the reserve fund. We've had some interest payment, and then we've also purchased some transformers, but that's all the activity so far in those funds. Okay, and then this slide shows the beginning balance of all 3 electric funds. then the revenues and expenditures year-to-date, and then the ending fund balance as of August 31st. Sorry, the slide does say July 31st, but it is August 31st. Any questions on the electric fund? Good. Okay, moving on to the water fund. Okay, water total revenues year-to-date are at $177,000. Our expenditures year-to-date are $130,000, leaving us a surplus of $47,000. And the fund balance within the water fund is almost $910,000. Then the next few slides are the details within the water fund. Good. Okay. Yes. Okay, and the water DNR fund, we've had some grant revenues and expenditures for the lead service line inventory and the new well design. Just an update on that project. The new well and tower project will go out for bid hopefully next week, so we should start seeing construction probably within the next few months. And then on the water reserve fund, sorry.
Oh, there's the expenditure for that.
When you talk about construction, you're talking about the tank, the holding tank? Or are you talking about the digging of the well? Both. Do we dig the well first and find that there's water before we start construction of the tower?
To be honest, I don't know which comes first.
Well, the well should come first, I would think.
Well, I don't know, and I'm not the engineer, okay? But they're bid together, so that construction will happen simultaneously. So I don't know about one coming before the other.
It would be nice to know that we're not going to be pumping cloudy water and dirty water like we did at the
I would
industrial
agree.
park.
I would agree. So the engineer has worked with DNR and the geological section to identify what the best location was, and that was done prior to the city purchasing this parcel for the well. So I mean, that's the best you can do beforehand.
Okay, next slide. On the water reserve fund, we've had some interest revenue, and then on the expenditure side, we had an $82,000 expense, and that was to replace the motor and pump that went out on the well. Okay, and this slide shows the beginning balance of all three water funds, and then it shows the revenue expenditures year-to-date, and then the ending fund balance as of August 31st. Any questions in the water fund? Moving on. Okay, moving on to the sewer fund. Sewer revenues year-to-date are at $193,000. Total expenditures are $146,000, leaving a surplus of $47,000. The fund balance is $262,000 in the sewer fund. And then again, we have the details within each category in the next few slides. And the sewer DNR fund. We've had some grant revenue and expenditures for the wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 project. And at this point, I've not heard when that's going out for bid, but I'm assuming it's going to be soon. And then on the sewer reserve fund, okay, not much activity there, just some interest revenue, but that's all. Then the last slide is the three sewer funds, the beginning balance at the beginning of this fiscal year, the revenue and expenses year-to-date, and then the ending fund balance as of August 31st. And that's all I have, if you have any questions.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you. Billing updates?
week yesterday. Oh, my apologies.
It's not on. Oh, she turned off.
Well,
Sorry.
we reached out to BHMG, so that's the company doing the electric rate study for us. And just kind of asking them for an update timeline, just to have something. So we have submitted all of the documents that they wanted from us as staff. And so they're working on that. They're expecting presentations and final report sometime end of November, first part of December. And so I asked, so when can we be expecting maybe presentations? And they said that would be in that kind of time frame, so November, December timeframe.
Okay.
And so I don't know, we'll find out as we move closer toward that date, whether we need to do a joint meeting with the utility committee and the board or separate presentations, I don't know yet.
Okay, just let us know. This information Meg here applies to you. This is the information Meg requested. Okay. Work reports? Steve?
Good evening, board members. Go ahead and start with water. We are currently working over at Well 4 to set up the switch to make sure that we have the ability to go on to a generator in case we were to lose power. So Well 4 will be down once we go and they get deeper into putting that switch system in for possibly a day or two. So, and we're looking into a filter system for Well 6, seeing what the costs might be on that because of the turbidity that we've had in the water in the past. We want to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. So we'll get back with you on what the costs could be for that. So we've had multiple leak repairs since our last meeting. The crews have been staying busy reacting versus being proactive, but I'm excited because they have 2 new members of the team that are turning out to be really great workers, getting in and getting stuff done. So the sooner we can have them up and running, hopefully we can get out and start working in a proactive manner on projects. We acquired the signed easement for the construction of the new water tower. Stacy stole my exciting news about that, but a new water tower, a new well, and as you spoke about, Archer Elgin worked diligently with DNR to make sure that there is water there and hopefully the better quality that we could find in Salem. So that new water tower is pretty exciting. We released the request for bid for, and this is just a side note, for the fire hydrant project for cleaning those up. That doesn't have anything to do with the utilities or drinking water, but it's just exciting news. We're conducting lots of locates, but that's it for water. The electric department has also got 2 new members. We have a lineman that came on and a crew member to help him with line clearing of brush and things. They've started over at US Foods on a line that's in the Phase 3 power line that hadn't been cleaned up in 8 years.
Wow.
Literally trees growing over into the fuel island. So I went out there today and they're making good progress. Pretty excited about that. And then we'll work on a backlog of work orders for citywide folks and stuff that we need to get caught up on. Gain back public trust. So your power crews replaced a pole at 2:30 a.m. I want to say it was last Thursday after a vehicle crashed into it at South Sligo and West International. The crews always impress me with how quickly they get in, work together, and knock that stuff out. Continued replacing several streetlights. If you were to leave dirt cheap at the 3272 intersection and work your way to Walmart, there's a substantial amount of streetlights out. And this is one of those cases where MoDOT says it's ours and we think it's MoDOT's responsibility, but we're not gonna point fingers. We're gonna get out there and take care of that. So those will be getting fixed soon. We're working on finishing the Al Brown Field project. That's been over a year out. We're waiting on parts and stuff, but they're going to start trenching and get that finished. They finished up the high school construction trades building project. That was huge, and assisted other departments as needed. Lots of locates and stuff. So the crews are both looking great, and hopefully I can keep turning it up a notch so we get a lot more done. Is my hopes. Yes.
Question,
I'm
on,
going to speak into your microphone.
I got turned on. there's been lots of comments on like Salem Neighbor to Neighbor and such about the road conditions, and I'm just curious where you are with that,
Well,
potholes and things of that sort.
I mean, okay, roads, so we spent $120,000 last year to resurface 2 roads. And we tried to put that on our Facebook page so folks knew where to go look for that. But as far as our expenditures for the year, that's done. We do have a new vendor that we're using for pothole fill and large patches that we can do. So they work through the first truckload of that, and we want to wait and make sure that it's a pliable, good material before we move on and continue with street patches. Funding for next year's street repaving, I think we looked at the same amount, but, maybe that's another conversation we could have. It costs so much to do a 1-inch grind and a 1-inch overlay that, you could throw $500,000 at it and it wouldn't make a huge dent in what we've got going on. But we are looking at sitting down and putting together a 5-year plan so we can show folks where that's going to move around the city with the worst degraded streets getting repairs in a timely manner. I can tell you that Route J is getting repaved. That'll start this next year. That's MoDOT, so that'll be from your turn off at the golf course road, or out there by the golf course, and all the way around to the intersection at AutoZone. So that's huge. We paid the $70,000 to have the aprons done over to the curbs. Once again, another thing that I think MoDOT should be responsible for, because those easements to the curbs belong to MoDOT. But here we are, it's just, how do you fight that fight? So, but yes, pavement's coming as best we can, so, unless we want to pay more. I don't know if there's grants for paving. I don't know if that's a thing. Power and water are necessities, pavement.
Generally for paving, if we had a specific project, most of your street grant work is going to come, say if we had a new business coming in and we needed to get a road to that location, that we could potentially apply for grant funding. Generally for just repaving streets, though, there's not going to be grant funding available. So.
Did you have a specific area that you?
No,
Okay.
no, I was just wondering, because I've seen a lot of people complaining about it. I just wondering what the city had in mind.
I appreciate the feedback. Like I said, I'd love to, the street department would love to do a lot more. It's just, it's expensive, so. Like
I think we have some other questions for you.
Okay.
Well, actually, as I recall, we recommended to the Board of Aldermen that they remove streets from the scope of the Utilities Committee. So that's not really an appropriate discussion for this meeting.
Okay. Well, sorry. Any other questions?
Do you have something you need to say?
My question concerns the last page, and I know I asked you to do this, and I'm thankful for the
that's-
time.
Later in the agenda.
Okay, sorry.
Jumping ahead.
Go back to the first page.
I'll help you with whatever you need, Mr. Hanback.
Itching for it.
Wrong question, wrong time.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And now we're going on to the water meter fees. John?
Well, first I have questions on the last page. I know I requested from you an extra timeline to do this, and so we had the existing water meter charges, which were 8-something plus $6 service availability fee for water and sewer. Then we had the proposed, which was I think approved by the alderman, which was the 12 and the 9-something. And then we had the one that I was proposing to you, which when I looked at each category, it came in. So when I look at this, I'm surprised that the proposal that I had made and requested information about came in actually lower than the $12 one. And the question I have in regard to how that was calculated is that it looks like the amount of water that it was based on was the consumption of 4,000 gallons only. And I don't know that that gives us a true picture, because it really should be based on the total consumption for that month. If we were to base it on the total consumption for that month, which came in at a higher service, not at a higher volume fee, that would have generated considerably more revenue than just the 4,000 side of it. And then by lowering the service availability fee to $6, that would have been the same as what would have been generated in the previous months before we made any changes. So I'm a little confused. Maybe I'm not interpreting this properly, but do you see my point?
Well, not entirely. So I have a question for you. When you said that it should have been based, instead of on 4,000 gallons of usage per month, that it should be based on
Well,
what?
to get a true picture, you have to base the volume, the total volume for the month times the new rate. We could do the total volume for the month times the previous month, the accepted month of the $12 and the $9 number, and then mine, which was 10-something plus the 6.
Okay, but what is that total volume number? I guess I'm not clear what you're looking for. in
Well,
that.
but
Because
what-
you have multiple rates here, different based on residential, commercial, all of that.
Yeah.
So are you wanting total volume per customer, total
No,
volume per
no.
rate class?
If I were to look at the meter that's pumping all the water for the city,
Okay.
that we're billed for, I mean, we pump a number of gallons, I'm having a little trouble here. We pump a number of gallons that we're billed for.
Well,
We
no.
may have waste. I'm not interested in the wastewater that's going out in the streets or in yards and what have you. So we do know exactly how many gallons we pump that are billed for, right? A total for the entire city.
Yeah, that's the last.
That's
column.
what?
That's the very last column on your sheet. That shows what we billed out for last fiscal year.
And the column on the far right of
Yeah.
your sheet. So if you're looking at your proposal,
Yeah,
go all the way across to the far right
And-
in blue.
yeah.
Oh, it's not color, my apologies.
That's
No,
the
it is
third.
color.
It is colored.
Okay, so the top line is residential inside the city. Well, you've got it titled
Okay,
revenue and availability.
so that 128,000 something,
Right, so the revenue plus the availability fee is the 128,000. Is that gallons? Or is that
how come
square?
it's different in the center column?
So the
The center column is what we're presently doing with the ultimate.
center column,
No, that's the center row.
No, I'm talking about the same number. If I go down the top number on the very right-hand side, you're saying that, is that a volume amount?
so for residential, the top line, 72 million gallons, that's what we billed for the residential
On
end.
the bottom row,
For the,
bottom
Okay.
row of information, your proposal, Mr. Hambecker.
Yeah. Okay, so,
So that's
so,
the gallons.
so that was
That's
what we were
gallons.
billed for was 72,000.
Million.
And that was the
72
same
million.
for all the way through.
Yes, you'll see that number is the same in all three
Yeah, it's all
rows.
the way down.
Okay,
So the revenues generated from that 72 million is 774,000.
when I,
That's revenues based upon the,
Those fees.
yeah. Based upon your, what, 1075?
yeah,
Yeah. And then the $6 availability fee was 128,300.
okay, and that's the same on both. On the, and it's double on the one for the $12, okay? So that was the only difference in terms of the center one is the rate.
Yes.
So if I look at how come the top number in the center column, how come these numbers vary? What am I not thinking about here?
Okay, so I could try to help here. All right, so what you're asking is why is there a difference between the 2024, 2025 sewer rates and and the difference between your proposed here?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, the revenue, so they're both based on the same consumption.
right.
Like, they're both based on the same consumption, based upon all of those different lines, because we have different rates for inside the city versus
Right.
outside the city. And so if you take if you look, the left is the number of accounts in red. Then you have the consumption, how much was actually went through the meter and what you're billed on.
Right,
The revenue is based upon the number of accounts and
Times the volume.
times the volume times the rate.
Yeah, times the
That-
volume rate.
yeah,
And
times the volume.
The final column
Is
the
just
service
the
availability.
service availability
Right.
fee based upon those,
Yeah,
number
I've
of
got
accounts.
that.
So that's how those are calculated there. So the difference, and it's not much, like, it's not a huge difference between the two in terms of total. I mean, it looks big.
It's about
but, like,
100,000.
in terms of the,
$1,000.
yeah, it just surprises me that it came in
At that.
actually lower when the
Yeah.
volume rate was up. So the service availability fee made that much difference by going from 6 to 12.
yeah.
There it is, there it is.
Wow. Thanks for doing that.
So do you want to talk about,
Yeah, we can
This-
talk about the meter fee. I'd like to run that one more month since you have that capability. Would you run that one more time? That last page?
What do you mean,
for
run?
one more month?
Run it for one more month?
So that is, so I will say,
This is for a
just to
year,
clarify,
yeah,
this is for an entire year.
Yeah, this is for 12 months.
Yeah, that's, the columns here, this is for if you were to take the proposal and you were to use the new rates versus the consumption dealt last year.
For the last year's consumption.
For the,
Correct.
yeah, for the entire year.
Right.
Not,
Yeah,
this is,
okay.
yeah, the 72 million gallons for a month would be
Yeah, yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
We don't have enough wells.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
So, let me go back.
Does that surprise any of the rest of you? That service availability fee came in as a,
Not completely, because when I take a look at my water bill, the electricity is the bulk of my bill.
yeah, but
typically.
when you look at the fact that there was at least 371 that are not paying the $12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, but that's out of 17, almost 2,000.
And I think that was a point
no,
of
take
Kyle.
the 371 times 12 times 12.
Yeah. 371 times 12 times 12.
Yeah, and I thought my number was higher. I actually thought it was closer to 5.
53,000.
Yeah.
But it's not a shocker. I mean, Kyle had brought up last month, looking at some of the other surrounding communities, that their service availability fee versus their volume rate looked vastly different than ours.
Yeah.
But when you calculated it out, it came out to almost the same for the same 4,000
Yeah, for the same amount of
gallon usage.
Gallon rate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is kind of playing that same game. Do you shift it more towards service availability or more towards volume rate?
Okay, you wanna
All
go
right,
on with
well,
this?
the other side that I had questioned was the meter sizes and the fee that we charge for them. And so I gave you all a paper, and I decided, now this is just me talking, not the committee. I'm hoping that we'll get a discussion from the committee. I really feel that 6-inch meters, evidently, we have no 5-inch meters, 4-inch meters, and we have no 3-inch meters. So there's only two sizes that were in there, which are the 4 and the 6 in the chart that I provided. The fees that I proposed are actually a little bit less than they were at the St. Joseph, and they're definitely less than the Rolla fees. And I think they're unique to Salem, not necessarily to the cities around us, some of the cities around us that are higher than that. But you can see that with the meter size that Steve provided, that the 4-inch meter, which we have 10 of, and the 6-inch meter, which we now have 5 of, brings in close to $20,000 over the year. And my rationale on that is that, first of all, when you have, and I'm applying this proposal only to 2 entities in our community, and those entities are motels and hotels. Those facilities are basically fed by people who come to our community, not necessarily our citizens. They may also include workers that are coming in and putting on roofs, and also guests in our communities. But it's not going to be burdening our residential areas. It's going to basically affect only 2 businesses. The thing that when I look at, and I don't have these numbers, but if I were to look at the numbers that were volume numbers for the motel that we have, the Ranch Motel, and the hotel, I would think that their volume numbers are considerably higher than my home. Considerably higher than my home. They're doing laundry every day. They have a swimming pool there, and I think in both facilities. And therefore, the demand that they would have in terms of the water we need to pump in order to serve them is considerable. The amount of electricity that goes into pumping that water can be part of this expense that we're leveraging on them. And so therefore, I don't feel that to do this for 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch meters is going to burden community members, because I think there's very few residential areas in our community that have anything larger than a 2-inch meter. And I know that that cost that was going to be added to them over a year will probably add 10 or 15 cents, maybe 20 cents, just guessing, to their daily charge. But I think it's something that we need to address, and we said we would address it at the last meeting. So my proposal was that Salem have a monthly water meter charge for the hotels and motels using city water of the amount in the above chart. And I throw that out to the committee for discussion.
So if I caught that right, you said for the hotels and motels?
For the hotels and motels in our community. I don't know what,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about McDonald's and the other businesses in our community. I know people use their restrooms, and but they're not showering there and they're not laundering there. So again, I don't even know what size meter McDonald's has. It may be a 4-inch meter, I don't know.
Yeah. I guess my initial thought, and not to drag this out very long, but like the initial thought behind this was thinking about residential areas that have 1 meter servicing many accounts, right? Are we changing the
No.
scope of this to,
Yeah, I don't know how to address that.
yeah,
I mean, I thought my other proposal was going to address that by changing the volume rate up and keeping the service availability fee down. I thought that the proposal was going to come in very similar. In fact, I actually expected it to come in lower than what the $12 and new rate was going to come in. It didn't.
Yeah.
That surprises me. But on the other hand, this isn't addressing, it doesn't address that 21 meters, unfortunately. And I don't know that I want to throw that in. I would hope that the city, when it comes to new construction, they wouldn't allow somebody to put in 40 units and serve it with 1 meter, like we did the one across the McDonald's.
As far as I know, I think that's supposedly in our policies. It's 1 meter per, supposed to be 1 meter per account now, but, yeah. No, it's,
Well, we have all kinds that aren't,
Right, we do.
due to the past.
We do, but we also have that very vague section of code that talks about, and I can't even remember what the title is, but the water master or something.
yeah, I
Um,
remember something
right.
about that.
So, I mean, we have that's in there, and that individual's supposed to determine who that is. But we also don't have an appointed person in that role. And so we have that vague section of code that deals specifically with how many meters per how many housing units. And again.
So we need to address that in the future as well.
Potentially. And when we had conversations about this previously, we had one individual at the time who read it as, no, this is appropriate. And then when we had others who maybe don't agree with it. So it's open to interpretation.
When I look at the 21 meters at that one area, we collect now $12. We're not collecting 12
No,
times
no, I
21.
completely understand your point.
Yeah.
I just, yeah,
I don't think that's fair to the people.
gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what we were trying to, that's what I thought we were trying to address, was if you because typically those units with larger meter, because they're going to need a larger meter to service multiple units, right?
Yeah,
Supposedly.
And we may be addressing that with
It-
these.
that's-
I
yeah,
mean, the
that
4-inch
was the
meter may
question.
doing it the 6-inch meter. That I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why we could be addressing that with these. It could be that, the multiple units are in these numbers. The question that I had to you on the discussion here was, if we're singling out hotels and motels, that would not address this. Because because we only have like we have 2 hotels and motels, and they have larger meters, likely.
And we need to be very careful about making policy that singles out individuals
Yeah.
or individual businesses.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
When Rolla has meter charges, but that's
think-
not applied to motels and hotels, that's applied to everybody. So you're saying that this particular proposal would not be good since it singles out motels and hotels according to the lawyers?
I think it would be best if we went with like you have the proposed water meter size charges. I think that would be fine. I don't think we need to put additional language in there for hotels and motels.
Right. I would agree with that.
That's how I think it, and
Okay.
that's where I got confused, because you said hotels and motels, and I was like, wait. That doesn't address the initial discrepancy that we had.
Yeah, and I guess the question then becomes, will there be a facility, or is there a facility that's out there that's fed by a 4-inch meter that
You don't know.
we're
about
going to hit with, well, 2 fees? I don't think this is ever going to be a meter fee and then a $12 fee. I don't think anybody's going to be stuck with the sum of both. I mean,
I can't say that. We have,
yeah, that's
just
starting-
like in the residential areas, we have customers who have an electric meter on their house and an electric meter on their garage.
Yeah.
So 2 separate accounts,
I'm one of those.
right? We also have business accounts who have multiple water meters. So depending on the size of those meters, they could have a $12 fee and a higher dollar fee, depending if they have 2 different size meters.
Yeah.
And we do have those situations.
Yeah.
And that could be in the 4 and 6-inch range?
I don't know. I can't say off the top
Who
of my
knows?
head.
Wow.
But I do know we have businesses with multiple meters and they're different sizes at times.
So
Well,
does-
that makes me think then we need to have some more information
Well,
about who has these meters now.
I don't know that we can tell you who, but again, if we focus on trying to create a broad policy that we think is fair to everyone who either has these size meters or has multiple meters, I mean, we can provide that kind of data.
Yeah, Rolla seems to be able to do that, and other communities seem to do that without question.
Gotcha.
And they do it without mentioning motels,
Right.
hotels.
Yeah.
Right,
I've
without
seen-
singling out a specific type of business, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen different things, when I research this in other communities, Rolla comes up a lot because they have a pretty easy one to find. Other ones I've seen is almost like a demand charge, you would call it.
A what?
I would almost call it a demand charge. Once they've hit like if they continuously go over 8,000,
Right, so it's a
gallons,
volume rate
It's a
adjustment.
volume rate adjustment. They adjust based upon volume.
However,
rate
those
adjustments.
volume adjustments on every city that I've seen, including Rolla, they don't go up, they go down,
I've
down,
seen it go down, yeah.
So what do you want to do with this proposal? Do you want to continue talking about it, or get
Personally,
more information?
Yeah, personally, John, I think I think even just this and raising just upon, the size of these meters would be sufficient to encapsulate some of that. You see some of the revenue that actually increases here, which means, we wouldn't have had to go, up as much,
Yeah, for sure.
on some of the
Other charges.
now that's sewer rates that you have on here, not water rates.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that we got to make sure that's, we're looking at sewer rates on the last page. But the $10,000 or $20,000 in totality, on these larger would assist that
Yeah, Stacy and I looked
by a
at it.
lot, by a
Looked at
lot.
it earlier. We based it on the upcoming rates. It'll be with the next bill. If you take out those 15 out of commercial that are 4 and 6 inch meters, you lose just over $2,000, but you would add in, the revenue from
Yeah.
the meter rate. So that's, like you said, about 20. So you'd net about 18 would be the difference.
Yeah, I think according to Steve, the numbers that I gave you and amounts are there and real. It's about 20,000.
Now, I would say that, and we deal in small percentages whenever we're doing rate adjustments, things like when our rate adjustments and things go up, but typically the rates go up like 2 or 4%. This would add about 2.5% to the total revenue of because it's
The
20,000.
total revenue,
Yeah,
right.
2.4% to that 806, 485 in the
Do you want to put
revenues
this
that
in
we
the
see.
form of a motion?
Yeah, I will in just a minute. When you think about the rate that we're charging the majority of the people, I mean, that's the screen point. And now that we've got the $12 and we got a higher rate, that's a continuous screen point. And by bringing in 20,000, we would be able to reduce that to a new volume rate that might be lower, or we could reduce maybe the $12 to a 10 for the majority of the residents. And the only people these are going to affect, I really believe, the only things that these two, the 6 and the 4, because we have no 5-inch meters, I think they're only going to affect 2 entities, or these 15 entities in our community that we've been told. I don't think there's a household here that has a 4-inch meter or a 6-inch meter.
I would agree with that,
No.
yeah.
So I would I'm still going to make the proposal, but that the wording be then a little bit different, that we propose a water meter size charge of the following in the chart. For,
So if this is a motion, I need you to state what that charge is.
I'm making it into a motion.
Okay.
Okay. So I need you to state what that fee is. So for 4-inch meters.
Okay, so for the 4-inch meter, that'd be $90 per month. The 5-inch meter, it'd be $120 per month. The 6-inch meter, it'd be $150 per month.
That's good. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And again, I base those fees on the fact that they're lower than anything that I've seen in any other chart for those cities around us that have these kind of fees. And I also base it on the fact that these larger meters require additional electricity to get the water to them, additional costs and everything. So I think there's a justification in having those fees.
So that's your motion?
Not all that shit. I'm stuck.
Yeah, I have one question before, and I know. One question. You called it a meter size charge versus a change in the base rate. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I didn't want to get it confused with the service availability fee.
Well, but, okay, but if you don't amend your motion, they're gonna have both the $12 base rate and the meter charge.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
Okay.
That's why I was wanting to clarify, because the way you worded it, it was going to have a double.
So our service availability fee
Yeah,
has never had anything associated with it in terms of size.
No,
So you're saying that we have to make that proposal based on service availability size?
No,
Meter size?
no.
no, the
But in
service
your
Water
availability,
motion-
meter size.
yeah,
meter
you mind?
size.
I think I can clarify
Go ahead.
this.
Okay.
I think I could clarify this. What I think you're proposing, and I think what you're looking to propose and make a motion on, is that the service availability fee be variable for the size of the meter, where the service availability fee is based upon this chart that you have. So you have the service availability fee for water only being $90 for 4-inch, $150 for
For
6-inch.
Yeah, I'm confused.
The
This
sewer
water
charge.
fund or sewer fund that we are,
It's based on the water
Talking
meters,
about.
but isn't it a sewer?
As far as the sewer?
Yes, okay,
Oh, for the sewer?
yes,
Okay, so not for water.
correct.
Okay, so the base rate for the sewer, or the service availability fee for the sewer, be based upon a chart instead of a flat across the board?
Do we then need to add in all the ones that are smaller than 3 and because everything else is 12?
Not yet.
Oh,
Oh,
if I
it
may,
has been already
If I may,
approved by the Alderman.
if you clarify and say you want your meter fee for a 4-inch to be $90 a month, and for a 5-inch to be $120, and a 6-inch to be $150, and all other meter sizes
Yeah.
to be 12,
Yeah,
or whatever you want, it, you know
yeah.
what I mean, you're proposing.
Well, that's what we have at the present time, is 12 is our,
Correct, but in
One
your
that's been
motion, you
accepted.
need to state
Okay.
that.
All
Yeah,
right.
and that way, it changes all of them from a base fee, which is what we've been calling it now, a base rate, to a service availability fee based on meter size. Does that make sense?
yes.
So all meter sizes other than those 3 identified are $12.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, correct. Then the way our structure is currently and has been for some time, if they have the same service outside of city limits, that service availability fee is doubled.
Bet you knew that.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Without other guidance, that's how we would interpret it.
Is Ranch Motel outside the city?
No, it's in.
No, I think these are all inside the city.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
shouldn't affect anything outside the city unless there's something built in the future?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe any of those large
Unless there's
meters
an
are outside the city.
apartment,
I
yeah.
would not swear to that, but I do not believe we have any of those large meters outside of the city limits.
All right. Can you word that?
Okay,
I was waiting for that.
I'll make the motion and credit John
No,
Hampacker
you don't
for
have to
it.
take credit, but just get it out there.
Okay. I would move that the base rates change to service availability fees for sewer only, based upon the proposed chart, where less than 3 inches is $12, 3 is 60, 4 is 90, 5-inch is 120, and 6-inch is 150.
You want all 4 sizes, those sizes noted in there? That you have on your chart?
Yeah, I think we have to put that 12 in there for the lower
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Right. Do you want to clarify what we're doing inside versus outside? So are we doing away with those smaller meters that currently have a double base fee outside of city limits?
Wasn't that taken care in the previous motion when when we did the $12, then all of those outside the city were automatically doubled. So that's already, the
I
ultimate
guess
have
that's
already
what
done
I'm
that.
asking. Do you want that to remain, or do you want that to change?
No, that should remain.
So that we're clear.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
Well, first, let's see if we can read that again.
Okay. The motion as stated was that the base rate be eliminated and replaced with a service availability fee based upon, and I'm not going to read all the numbers out again, based upon this fee schedule chart for sewer rates.
Sally, did you say there was probably nobody outside the city limits with any of these 4 or 5, 6?
The larger ones, I don't think so, but again, I wouldn't swear to that, but I don't think there are.
Are we ready for a second? Are we ready for a second?
I would second that.
A motion's been made and seconded, and Sally has all of the language, and I'm not going to repeat it.
But thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
It only took.
And now on to the sewer adjustment policy.
Okay, so our current sewer adjustment policy, so when a customer has a water leak, our current policy simply states that when they bring an invoice or a receipt proving that they have fixed the leak, that the city will then adjust out the sewer portion, because that was increased also, for that leak down to the average usage, okay? So I guess what we would like as staff, because we've had multiple conversations about this in the office, is there a timeline for that, okay? And so a couple of examples. The ServLine program that will cover someone's high water bills only covers 2 months, the 2 highest months, and that's how they word theirs. Right now, we don't have anything that specifies the duration. And as an example, we had one account that came in, I think late last week, that had had a consistent leak since last February, and then just brought in proof that they had had it fixed on beginning first couple weeks of August. And so is the city supposed to back out 6, 7 months of sewer charge, or is there some responsibility on the part of the customer to address it sooner? So that's my question.
Is there
So-
some discussion on this?
So I would like for it, I can give you
Yeah.
staff's recommendation before or after, but
What does staff recommend?
staff's recommendation is that we don't adjust more than 3 months worth.
Okay.
Now,
I agree
whether
with
that's
that.
the most recent 3 months or the highest 3 months, that you all can duke that part out, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Are
You
these
don't wanna go
people that are spending their time in Arizona when this happens?
Unfortunately, no,
Not paying attention.
unfortunately. Now, we are now trying to notify when we catch that someone has a leak, but that's not 100%. And, we hope that our folks are looking at their bills, and if something, looks drastically different, that they're asking, hey, what's going on here?
I mean, it's a nice service. It's not really on
Right, it's
city
not a
staff
requirement.
to know if your
Right,
house
but we
is
do
leaking.
try to notify them when we see that there's a leak,
Yeah, that's nice.
so. But the question is, how far back, and, do we
I think
adjust?
3 is reasonable.
I think 3 is
I
reasonable.
would say 3, no more than 3.
No
for
more
sure.
than 3,
It-
for
it-
sure.
Maybe even 2, just
Yeah, because
2.
it may take some time for somebody to get somebody like,
So is there a motion to establish a sewer adjustment policy?
Well, I mean, we have the policy, but to amend it with
To
a
amend it?
timeframe,
Okay.
right, yes.
I would make
do we
that
want,
motion.
do we want the, quick question, do we want to have it the recent 3 months, the highest 3 months, or the lowest 3 months? That's what they were asking.
Well, either the most recent 3 months or the
Most
highest 3
recent.
months.
The most recent,
Most
I think the
recent.
most recent is reasonable. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we
I would
were
word it that
talking
way.
about that before.
The most
Okay.
recent 3 months?
That's what I
Yes.
would
Yes.
say.
Yes,
Okay, so Harold, do you want to amend your motion to say that?
yes.
I understand your frustration over there.
Amend my motion to say 3 months The
Most recent or the?
most recent,
Okay.
yes.
Is there a second to this motion?
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded that we amend the sewer adjustment policy. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Questions and comments from citizens otherwise? None tonight?
Question.
Go away.
You sent my bill, it was 69 cents. Are there not bulk fees?
They're not what?
Bulk fees.
That's the normal
Bulk
rate.
mailing fees.
Bulk
for-
mailing fees. Can we not get a bulk fee?
Churches
Yeah, I
do.
think that's a better question.
So we have looked into getting a permit, so a postage permit, but there are fees involved with it. There are also restrictions. So if we had a bulk permit, okay, to get reduced postage, then, and for those of you who have come in and helped us stuff bills, so we would have to sort out how many bills have how many pages.
Oh,
Yes, okay, so that's, that becomes quickly more hassle than
And then we
Yeah.
have to count them and fill out a report.
how many of each one, right?
oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Just have one page?
No.
There's more than one page?
Oh, yes.
Like
Oh,
several
yeah.
businesses may have like,
We stuff some of them to the maximum. I mean,
oh yeah, bad.
yeah. So on that note, though, and this is something we haven't reported, sorry. Yeah. Okay, something we haven't really discussed in a while. We are working on trying to get a quote for outsourcing the printing and mailing of our bills, okay? We've had a few issues the last few months trying to get a file in the right format that the printer can actually use to get correct bills. So we're in that process, and we've been back and forth with this printer each month trying to get this worked out. So I'm not even going to try to say when we'll have it fixed.
Okay.
But we are trying to do that and move toward that so that we're not doing the hand stuffing and mailing every month,
So you're saying the bills are incorrect?
No.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, we're not going that route until we make sure they are correct, so.
Doesn't hurt to
You
try.
wanted to leave early, right? Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that the meeting be adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll see you the second
No way.
Wednesday
1 hour?
in
Are you kidding me?
October.
56 minutes.